Yeah, I'm recording it now. I will show you what it is. I will. This is a very important thing, which though you have been with me for 20 days, you guys, you have not bothered to study it and learn about it. So these are now I have time to tell only few points. So let me tell. ATM means anytime automated teller machine. You know about how it is working. I am not going into it. Now, bank assurance means this also is known to you. This is one of the para banking services where banks canvass insurance policies for the companies with whom they have arrangement. Why they do it? They get commission for the insurance policies canvassed. Bank draft is an instrument issued by a bank for monies remitted by the purchaser of the draft along with commission. Then he will be given a draft, and this draft is payable at other branch of the bank. Nowadays, after this UPI coming, after this say payment apps coming, this is losing its relevance. Banker's check is a check drawn on the same branch of the bank for the monies remitted by the customer. Banker's lien is the right of the banker to retain a property. For example, an individual has taken a gold loan. He adjusts the gold loan. Now the jewel is with him. But he has also certain overdraft dues which he has not repaid for some time. Now, bank can exercise its lien over that gold and retain it with him. Then banking ombudsman, the office is in Chandigarh. Now there is only one office, that is the Reserve Banking Ombudsman is an authority which looks into the complaints made by customers and is trying to give redressal. Max, is it being recorded now? Yeah, no, it is being recorded.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir, it's been recorded.
it's been recorded. Yeah. The ombudsman gives maximum compensation of 20 lakhs and 1 more lakh towards mental harassment. Basel 2, this is a committee on banking. Actually, this is for this capital adequacy ratio in order to test the credit worthiness of the bank to see that the bank is not going into negative aspects. Bouncing of a check is a check issued by a customer is returned for want of funds is known as bouncing of check. Business of banking we have defined many times. Banking means accepting deposits from the public and making advances. Certificate of deposit or negotiable receipts in bearer form, that is, banks, you know what they do. In the case of normal fixed deposits and all, one rate of interest is given. For certificate of deposits, where the money is received in huge amounts, they will quote a higher rate of interest. So in that case, bank will receive fraction of an amount now, taking into account the interest rate quoted, and then it will return the full amount to the company which is depositing the money. And the only difference between fixed deposit and certificate of deposit is that in the case of certificate of deposit, the stamp duty has to be paid by the bank based on the amount of deposit received. Minimum deposit, it is given as 1 lakh. I'm not sure. I think it must be 5 lakhs or so now. But please check it up by searching in Google. They have not changed in our glossary also. Check truncation. This is not known even to computer science students. Check truncation means Prior to 2010, checks were sent by the collecting branch of the bank to the paying bank. Supposing check is drawn on Indian Overseas Bank, State Bank of India is collecting that check. State Bank of India used to send the check to Indian Overseas Bank. Nowadays, no question of checks going. Nowadays, what is happening? The collecting bank takes electronic photo of the check. An electronic image is only sent through clearing. That means the branch will send the electronic check front side, back side to the service branch. Service branch in turn will participate in a reserve bank clearing house. A reserve bank clearing house in turn will distribute the checks to all the banks branch wise. That is done based on MICR code given at the bottom of the check. MICR means magnetic ink character recognition code. So the checks are sent to the respective bank branches. The bank branches verify the electronic image and then make payment. If the balance is not there, it will be returned. Collecting banker, in the case I was explaining, collecting banker is State Bank of India. Paying banker is Indian Overseas Bank. The person who has got an account with Indian Overseas Bank is the drawer of the check. Indian Overseas Bank is known as drawee of the check. And the person in whose favor the check has been issued is known as payee. That much is sufficient. This was not known today for a candidate from computer. I felt very bad. What is this core banking solution? Core banking solution is a buzzword in Indian banking at present, where branches of the bank are connected to the central host, and customers of connected branches can do banking at any branch of the core banking facility. You have account with Federal Bank Visakhapatnam, but you are going to Mumbai. You can go and deposit money in Federal Bank Mumbai also. You can draw money using your check also. Now, of course, all these things have become irrelevant because with your ATM card, you can draw anywhere in India from any branch of any bank. That is what it is. Next one, credit worthiness. It is the capacity of the borrower to repay the loan. Crossing of checks. On the face of checks, two parallel transverse lines are written. That is known as crossing of checks. Why the check is crossed? If a check is crossed, the paying banker is not expected to make payment over the counter in cash. He is supposed to make payment only through bank, through another bank. But for your sake, you be knowing it that crossing will prevent paying over the cash counter. In the crossing, there are two types of crossing. Commerce students, for them, two types of crossing. One is special crossing. Special crossing means Indian Overseas Bank check. On the face of it, State Bank of India name is written. Then the check can be paid by Indian Overseas Bank only through State Bank of India or its agent. But the check is crossed simply two parallel transfer line. That is known as simple cross. That is what is that I was telling? Special crossing, simple crossing. Not only that, another on the two parallel transfer lines with account payee written. It is an indication for the collecting banker to see that it is collected only for the payee's account. Current account, all of us know, is one of the demand deposit accounts where it is opened mainly by the business people. Businessman means it can be an individual or a proprietor or a partnership or a limited company. And the minimum balance required in the case of current account is much higher than the minimum balance prescribed for savings account. Not only that, there are no restrictions regarding number of withdrawals, and there is no interest paid in respect of current account. CVV, this is a 3-digit number given on the back of your debit card or credit card. This number is given to know whether you are the real person. For example, this is a debit card, and on the back, 3-digit number is given. So whether, if you know that correct only, your identity will be ensured. This is required mainly in the case of online e-commerce transactions. Debit card, all of you know, is a card issued by a banker at the time of opening of the account, which is used by us for withdrawing cash from ATM counter. It can be used for, say, knowing the balance, can be used for taking a mini statement. It can be used for remittance of money into cash at the, what is that? Money cash denominator machines. Then debtor is a person who has borrowed money from another person who has given money. One who has given money is known as creditor. Demand deposits or savings bank and current account, they are called demand deposits, which are they are repayable on demand. Anytime it has to be paid. And demat account is an account which is used for buying and selling of shares. Dishonor of check is a check is being sent for collection, returned unpaid, is known as dishonor of check. The reason can be many reasons. Sometimes today's date is 6th May. A check dated 7th May may be presented today. It will be returned not for want of funds, but because the check date is post dated. Then the today check is presented 6th May, on 6th May, but the check is dated 4th February 2024. It will be returned because it is more than 3 months old, and it is called as a stale check. Where the signature on the check is not tallying, it will be returned. Where there is an alteration on the check, it will be returned. Then EFT is electronic fund transfer, where money is remitted through online. And there are two types. One is NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfer. This is done 24/7 and in batches of 30 minutes each. That is 48 batches are there. And this is NEFT. Then next one, either or survivor, when two people join together to open an account A and B, when it is known as either or survivor, A can withdraw money, B also can withdraw money. That is, A can issue a check, B can stop payment of a check. Such a thing is known as either or survivor. This is normally suitable for husband and wife, where the account is open in the name of A and Mrs. A. And in case of the death of one of them, the survivor can operate the account on production of a death certificate. Electronic commerce. E-commerce transaction is, say, using our debit and credit card and internet banking to purchase commodities from online websites like Flipkart, Amazon.com, etc. EMI means equated monthly installment, where a borrower is taking loan from a bank for purchase of some, say, car or some other fixed assets, and he has to generate revenue out of it and then repay. He is repaying in equated monthly installment. This installment will take care of his repaying the principal and also the interest once all the installments are paid properly. Endorsement. Endorsement means in the case of check has been issued by Kaviram favoring Vishwas. Vishwas signs on the back of the check as Vishwas, and that is known as endorsement. When Viswas signs on the back of the check only Viswas, it is known as open endorsement. Then if he writes pay to Rama, then it is known as specific endorsement. If he writes pay only to Krishna, then it is known as a restricted endorsement. Endorsement in blank, endorsement in full, execution of documents. Whenever a bank is giving loan to a borrower, a banker takes the documents that are required. The documents execution is supposed to take place in the presence of a bank officer. You cannot get the document signed by in the absence of an officer. Banks are supposed to maintain a register known as document execution register, wherein they will note down the date and the time, the name of people executing documents in the presence of which officer. Next is factoring. Factoring is an arrangement whereby the owner of a debt, he sells it to a third party at a discount. The factoring company then recovers it from the debtor. So this is known as factoring. That is where supposing you have to receive 100 rupees. You go and sell it to factor at 60 rupees. The factor presents and collects 80 rupees. Even then he makes 20 rupees profit. Foreign banks are those banks which have got their registered offices registered outside India, but they do operate branches in India, like HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Deutsche Bank, State Bank of Mauritius, something like that. There are nearly 43 banks or so, foreign banks. And there are 12 public sector banks. There are 21 private sector banks. There are 43 RRBs. There are 12 small business banks, SSBs, small service banks. Then there are 6 payment banks. Among the small service bank, only one bank, namely, this is the latest news, AU Small Finance Bank is only eligible for applying for getting it converted to a commercial bank, because for starting a payment bank, you require a capital of 100 crore. For starting a small finance bank, you require how much? 200 crore. But for starting a bank like ICICI, Axis Bank and all, you require 500 crores. And that too, not all small finance banks will be given. Only they have certain norms. Only on fulfilling those norms, then they will be allowed to be converted into commercial banks. Then forfeiting is giving up. That is not asking for the money back from the person who has to pay. Please read it. I'm not able to tell it fully. Forgery, all of you know, doing something wrong to withdraw the money. that is putting the signature of Mr. A, or altering the checks, altering the instruments, that is known as forgery. Garnishee order. This comes in the case of civil liabilities, where the bank or the creditor files a suit in a court of law. They get a decree, and when they execute the decree, they come to know that Mr. X has got deposits with the say Yes Bank, so and so branch. If they know the details, they can move the court to issue an order to Yes Bank, so and so branch, asking them not to pay the money to the debtor. So such an order is known as Garnishee order. General lien is a right to retain a property for the dues that the person has got to the bank. Guarantee. Guarantee is when Mr. A is a contractor who has taken contract from Tamil Nadu government for construction of a bridge. The cost of the contract is 100 crores, and he is constructing the bridge. The government is insisting on their, he is giving bank guarantee. He will approach his bank. The bank will issue a guarantee favoring Tamil Nadu government, stating in the event of Mr. X, the contractor, not fulfilling the contract within the time prescribed or in a sufficient proper manner, the bank will pay the amount to the Tamil Nadu government. Such a document is known as guarantee. Next, holder in due course. This is very technical for only commerce related people. That is, in the case of negotiable instruments such as bill of exchange, promissory note, or check, when the person is getting possession of the property in the regular course of business, he is supposed to be holding it as holder in due course. When A has issued check in favor of B, B is endorsing it to C, then only C will get the right. What happens? A issues the check, B signs on the back of the check and keeps it in his cupboard. C comes and takes that check. He will not get the title because he is not a holder in due course. If the holder of a check means a person entitled in his own name to the possession, where on the back he must have written C, then only C becomes holder. Hypothecation, this comes in the case of movable properties offered as charge to the bank. For example, jewels. And also famous example is cars, vehicles, autos. The bank is financing for purchase of the vehicle. The document is created, the registration of document is created, bank's name is written as hypothecatee. The possession continues to be in the hands of the borrower. And this is known as hypothecation. This is also available in the case of shops, where a bank finances over the stocks available in the shop, open shop, which is being sold. They would have exhibited a board hypothecated to so and so bank. Then the bank is supposed to remit all the monies into bank. Many of them they don't do. So that is known as hypothecation. But the same house, same movable property is now kept under the key and custody of the bank. That is, a godown is taken. Inside that goods are stored, and lock and key is kept with the bank. Such a thing is known as pledge. And that is known as key cash credit. Whereas when it is under hypothecation, it is known as open cash credit. Another KCC famous is Kisan credit card, where Kisans are given limits based on the extent of land over which they are cultivating. and the crop they are cultivating based on the scale of finance decided by the local bankers committee. Identification. Whenever a bank is opening an account, they fulfill KYC formalities like asking for identification of the person by asking for any one of the 6 documents such as passport, driving license, Aadhaar card, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Card, then voter's ID, then PAN card. An account cannot be opened with PAN card alone because it doesn't contain the address. So for that, address proof has to be taken. Address proof is normally Aadhaar card is taken as sufficient, or driving license or passport is taken. If that cannot be produced, they can produce, say, lease deed executed recently, or the what is that the electricity bill or telephone bill. Ration card will not be taken into account for the purposes of identity. IFSC, Indian Financial, what is that? Indian Financial System Code. It is a 11-digit code, alpha numerical code, which will identify the branch of your bank. This is normally required for using in internet transactions. Indemnifier, say um, when indemnifier, a person who indemnifies or guarantees to make good any loss caused to the lender from his actions is known as indemnifier. Indemnity, again, it is a bond executed by the indemnifier undertaking to, say, normally this insurance policies are indemnities. Insurance company are indemnifiers. Then insolvent is the person who cannot repay all his dues properly, and the creditors are filing suit against him for him to be declared as insolvent. And in the case of companies, it is known as liquidation. And in this case, what happens? A person who is declared insolvent is losing his contract to enter into contract. So for 12 years, he cannot enter into contract. Persons who are not eligible to enter into contract, one minor below the age of 18 years, two, a person who is who has been declared insolvent within the last 12 years, and a person who is mentally not sound, they cannot enter into contract. Interest warrant is issued by the companies in respect of, say, payment of interest to them. Dividend warrant is dividend being given. International banking is a bank which has got headquarters in one country, is doing having branch in another banking, that is international banking. Not only that, a bank in our country is remitting money to a bank in another country, is also known as introduction banking. Introduction, this was there a few years back before Aadhaar card came. In those days, whenever we used to open account, we used to get the account introduced by the customer of our bank. And if the customer is a tailor, then we will expect him to introduce another tailor. A tailor cannot introduce an account of say, an exporter. Then that is something fishy. So like that, we will ensure the introduction, but nowadays it is not asked. Joint account is A and B joining together to open an account is known as joint account. 3 or 4 people also can join together and open an account known as joint account. A joint account A and B, the only difference is both of them will have to sign the check for making payment, whereas A and B, either or survivor account, is one where A alone can sign, B alone can sign, A and B, farmer or survivor. As long as A is alive, he can only operate the account. Only after the death of the farmer, namely A, the survivor can have the benefit of the account. Karta, this comes in the case of Hindu undivided family. Normally, it is the male, the first male, senior most male member will be the Karta of the family. All other members are known as co-parceners. COPARCENERS. Kiosk banking is like a milk kiosk, having a small office, then place within which you have a computer or an ATM. With that, you operate. That is known as kiosk banking. KYC norms, know your customer norms. About this, I have already told you the 6 documents to be insisted upon. The failure to follow the KYC norms is a serious violation, which sometimes say makes the Reserve Bank of India puts fine on the banks. Lease financing, say for example, some property has been leased out for 10 years, and relying on that lease deed, the banker will give a lump sum as finance. The money, the lessee, lessor means one who is giving on rent. Lessee means one who is taking on rent. He will repay the money. Such a thing is known as lease financing. Lease financing can be there in the case of cars also, especially in advanced countries where the car companies sell cars on leasing. Using the lease agreements, based on that, banks will be giving finance. Letter of credit. In the case of, say, the importer in India, he will be approaching his bank, asking them to open a letter of credit favoring the exporter in the other country, maybe London or Australia, wherever it is, in that currency. So that letter of credit is opened by the bank in India. It is sent through the correspondent. Each bank has got its correspondent bank in the foreign countries. Through them, it is advised to the exporters bank. Exporters bank will verify the authenticity of the letter of credit by checking the code. There will be a secret code they will verify, based on which it is being allowed. That is known as letter of credit. The advantage in this letter of credit is the exporter can export as given in letter of credit and then submit documents to his banker. And if his banker believes, they can give him money immediately. Otherwise, it will be sent to the bank in India. The bank in India will give the money immediately without looking into anything. They will go by the documents. Have they exported what our importer wants? Have they done it before the due date that is given? Have they packed it in a manner that our importer wanted? Everything, if it is complied with. In the case of letter of credit, we are dealing only in document and not in goods. Limited companies, in the case of limited companies, the Companies Act 1956 was there. It was replaced by Companies Act 2013. So this itself is a very not required for non-commerce people. Commerce people can go to Google and search difference between 1956 Act and 2013 Acts. So the limited company, major things you can remember is, one is a private limited company, minimum 2 shareholders, maximum 200 shareholders. Public limited company, minimum 7 shareholders, maximum unlimited shareholders. There are some more companies about which I am not telling. Then mandate. This is a document given by the account holder authorizing another person to operate on the account for a limited period, say 6 months or so. For example, say A is opening account, he is giving mandate in favor of B so that B can operate the account in his absence. Normally it is set 6 months, but practically what happens? We open and that remains as it is last 15 years, same mandate prevails. It continues. What is MCC? Multi-city checks. A check which can be paid in another city of within the country is known as multi-city check. Otherwise, a check drawn on Chennai is payable only in Chennai. If it is a multi-city check, it can be presented to other cities also and check collected.
Sir, I
Nowadays,
having one doubt, sir.
nowadays all this has got no relevance because everything is done through clearing, and in the clearing it is all done within no time. Earlier, check drawn on Delhi used to take 10 days for it to be collected, whereas nowadays it is all done through electronic clearing. It is cleared within 3 days. Yes,
Sir,
Viswas, what? Yeah.
in while visiting the Federal Bank branch, I have seen a one check machine, sir. What is it used, sir?
Check machine, that is,
Yeah, check
that is not
collector like that.
actually, it is, that is the machine over which electronic image will be taken. It will be sent through that. It will take
Okay,
the photo of that front side, back side. That image only will go to the clearing house.
okay. That is sent it to the other branches also, sir.
No, that will be sent to the service branch of the bank.
Okay. Actually, it is in the regional head office of the Coimbatore.
Yeah,
That
it will be there in the main branch where not every branch will have that machine. They will bring the check there and they will get it encoded there.
okay.
Merchant banking is when limited company wants to raise funds. They go to the merchant banker for raising funds. MICR code already explained. Magnetic ink character recognition. Microfinance is giving finance to small business people, say like self-help group and cobblers, then shop, that is payment vendors and all that. Minor account is a person who has got an age below 18 years. Nowadays, banks have a procedure. People who are 10 years and above, they can open an account. Only thing is they have to come in person. I think they are not given ATM cards. They will have to come and draw money from the bank. But where the account is in the name of minor, it is operated by the guardian, mother or father, then debit card can also be given. Mobile banking, all of you know. Then money laundering is say mm, making black money received through illegal means or foul means into white money is known as money laundering. Money market, what is it they are telling? Money market is not an organized market like Bombay Stock Exchange, but is an informal network of banks, financial institutions who deal in money market instruments like commercial paper or certificate of deposit or treasury bills. Then this will be asked only for commerce students. Moratorium. RBI imposes a moratorium on operations of a bank. That is one moratorium. Another type of moratorium is banks giving moratorium period of 6 months. That is, the customer need not repay for 6 months. Mortgage comes in the case of giving security of an immovable property like land and building by the owner of the property giving the original documents to the bank. Then NACH, all this comes under NPCI. Today I asked a candidate what is NPCI. That candidate told nuclear power something. It is wrong. NPCI means National Payment Corporation of India. There only this NACH comes, National Automated Clearing House. Please go through npci.org.in. Go through what are the various platforms they are having. This is mainly required for computer science students and also ECE students. NEFT. This I think we have already seen, National Electronic Fund Transfer. Negotiation. In the case of in the case of negotiable instruments like bill of exchange, promissory note, and bill of exchange, where on the back endorsement is given and given, that is known as negotiation. If it is a bearer check, there is no need for signature. It can be simply handed over to the other person, in which case the receiver gets full title to the instrument. Non-fund based limits. Limits like limits given for education loan, agriculture loan, then housing loan, then MSME loan, then infrastructure loan, etc. They are all given in the form of cash, in the form of money. But where letter of credit is opened, guarantee is opened, that is known as non-fund based limits. Non-resident, we have already seen persons who were living, working abroad for more than 182 days in a calendar year is called as a non-resident. Then non-resident accounts, we have already seen in detail about NRE and NRO. NPA is non-performing asset. In the case of banks giving loan, the installment and interest is not repaid for a period of 90 days. This account is called as non-performing asset. Once an account becomes non-performing asset, bank has to provide funds. The total of all the accounts where it has become NPA is known as GNPA, and when after the provisions are subtracted, it is known as net NPA, NNPA. That figure percentage only is given in the financial figures of the bank. Off balance sheet items, these items which affect the financial position of a business concern but do not appear in the balance sheet, like guarantee, letter of credit, etc. They are known as off balance sheet. Online banking, all of you know through internet. PAP. PAP checks means which are payable at par. That is, irrespective of whether the city, it is to be paid full amount. But now all this has lost relevance. Now, passbook, all of us know when we open an account, bank gives a passbook. Nowadays, in many of the bank branches, you have passbook printing machine, which we can print it ourselves. PIN is a personal identification number used in the case of ATMs, 4-digit number. Phishing, it is a virus cyber attack by using the what is the explanation given? Fraudulent attempt to take the money from another person. Plastic money is debit card, credit card. Pledge we have discussed. Post dated check I've already told you. Power of attorney instead of mandate, a stamped document valid for longer time is issued is known as power of attorney. Thank you so much. I request you to go through other points now before going for the interview and get to familiarize yourself. This will be certainly useful for answering. Apart from this, that Nandini and Jatin, they gave some document. If time permits, you go through that. And there is one more boy, that Moni. He has also given one page, one type of questions. Please go through that also. I wish all of you best of luck. Please attend the interview
Sir,
and send the questions. Thank you so much.
sir, excuse
Yeah.
me, sir.
Yes,
Sir, I got my interview date on 16th.
no problem. 16th
So
means
when
lot of
can I
time.
have my mock interview? Oh,
We
sir,
have
when can I
lot.
have my mock interview?
Please message me. I'm going to the doctor now. Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, sir. Thank you.